everybody? Welcome to another Retro Game Night. I am Damien DiCarlo. I am coming at you with a couple of people, couple of familiar faces. We got player 2. That is Earl
Hey,
Lawrence.
what's up, guys?
Hey, just hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Okay. No, that's okay. You know what? I'm gonna go to player 3 now. Michael Losey's here. Hey.
I'll keep it retro and say, "What's up?"
What's up? If you do not know that reference, you're way too young to listen to this. This episode is going to be really cool. It's one that, admittedly, I am not, for once, very familiar with. Not that I say that with a bit of pride with the other ones. I don't think a lot about myself. Not at all. No, but seriously, this episode, we're going into the nostalgic feels and the memories of LAN parties. This is something I've never even thought of covering on the Retro Game Night podcast. But if you have retro and you got nostalgia, you have things like LAN parties. I personally have been a part of some. I don't know much about the lore or the memories of what, all the stuff that came into this, especially, high school, college for some of us. But let's do it. Let's dive into some memories. I know, Earl, Michael, you got some memories. I mean, let's talk about some games. Let's first talk about the games that you remember in LAN party sessions. What comes to mind?
Obviously, I mean, I'm gonna say obviously, but I don't know. That may be different between age groups, but for me, it was Counter-Strike. Was the official, hey, let's LAN it up. Everyone bring your computer, your desktop, or we go to a internet cafe. And I remember all you hear in that internet cafe is people with their own.
Oh my god, that just
volumes
aged us.
and
Internet cafe.
shooting all everywhere. It was Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike was the game of choice for, at least in my opinion, for LAN, which then led to, the console part if you were, doing, the Call of Duty. But for the most part, LAN parties always was around Counter-Strike for me. What about you, Losi?
Man, it was a bunch of games, to be completely fair with you. Counter-Strike was definitely one of them. Counter-Strike. So, yeah, I feel like the one thing most people don't know or realize so far about me personally is, of course, I come off as the Nintendo guy, and I always was a big Nintendo guy, especially when it came to consoles. But in all fairness, I was also a really big, if not equally as large, a PC gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, LAN parties were, of course, that was how we gamed together with our buddies, right? And for us, it was two ways, man. We were both doing the console LAN parties as well as the PC LAN parties.
Yeah.
And so when we came to the console LAN parties, we were doing the original Halo. It was original Halo all day long. That was like our go-to game. And I just remember you could have up to 4 consoles hooked up, 4 people per console. So if you wanted, you could have a max of, 16 people, and it got pretty hectic. And so I do remember that. And then for the PCs, it was anything between shooting games and strategy games. So the shooting games was, of course, like you mentioned, Counter-Strike. Big and with my friends was Quake 3,
Quake
Arena.
was a classic, yeah.
Unreal Tournament, Battlefield, Medal of Honor, and then of course, like I said, the strategy games. You either had like Age of Empires was huge, and then of course there was some StarCraft, some Diablo.
Okay, that just
Defensive
brought me
Agents.
back because that was 2 games I had actually played LAN setup was Halo 1, and that was exactly what you said. Couple 3 consoles connected. And we had the goddamn Ethernet cord, or it wasn't even an Ethernet cord. I think it was just it was like the actual phone jack, right? Am I wrong, or was it?
No. It was Ethernet.
Was
All
it
right,
Ethernet cord?
It was. So what
Okay,
you have to
I'm
get,
way old. Sorry.
yeah, depending on how many people were involved, you would have to get like an Ethernet switch, a hub that had that many
Yes.
amount of ports that can handle it. So they had those up to like 16 or 32 even, I think. But 16 was like the max you would need. But most people just would have like a 5 or 8 port one.
Yeah.
And they would all have to be plugged into that so they could all recognize and interact with one another. But that's how that was powered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would all go to
Yeah,
your
for-
friend's house with like the best internet, and then I remember there was a point where people were like trying to, like, I'll chip in if you upgrade, man. Like, we gotta play, we gotta keep playing.
Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, let's stop there. Let's stop there. What was known as the best internet back then? Do we know the speed? Do you remember the goddamn speed? Was it like?
Good one. I think you gotta...
So of course,
What
I
would it
mean,
have been?
I was out in the rural area, so I was I can't remember for how long I had 56K modem, but
Yeah.
my friends eventually got DSL. So
Yes.
DSL was like the first step, but then right after that was like cable modem with I forget
Right.
the carrier at the time, and it was like twice as fast as DSL or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
remember.
Yeah.
That's when it was getting real.
Everyone was hyped. Like, you got DSL. There's no more, like hear the phone dial. Yeah, those were definitely the days. I mean, I think you're right. Was it 256? Let's see what Google says. It was well, in 2000, broadband connection was between 256 kilobytes, right, to 1 megabyte.
That's crazy.
So to think where you were and the support you need, and I remember, even in college dorms, we would be across the hallway in one friend's, dorm room, and you would hear the other guys, and they're screaming across the way like, "Hey, he's in this one," and trying to give locations to folks that there are, like, if you're, obviously I'm referring to Counter Strike, but I think that one was definitely a good one where you could there was clans involved where you could join certain groups, or you and your buddies made this clan and you could get ranked, and whether it's like a world ranking or like in your college ranking or whatever, wherever you were at, there's always these specific rankings, and people really really was backing their clan, like, yeah, this is us, we're good, we're ranked number 2 or whatever the case was. But it was always such a I mean, it was addicting. It was like, let's go, after class, let's go to, let's go across the street to the internet cafe and, sign in. And I mean, those guys were making a lot of money, I think, back then for
Oh, for sure. Oh my God, what
like,
a
whatever time they were open.
money pit for some. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, hear me on this. So like, yeah, of course I was doing the small LAN parties. Fun fact, my 18th birthday was a big LAN party. We got a bunch of my homies over, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
my parents got all the pizzas and stuff.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, one of the things I used to do was, when I got big into Counter-Strike, is I used to go to actual big LAN tournaments. I'm talking hundreds of people. So the biggest ones I went to, I used to go to Gigabit LAN, which was in San Jose. I also used to go to a couple tournaments down in Ontario, and then there's some in Central California near Fresno and Visalia. But I was playing against guys that were sponsored in Counter-Strike, I think at that time, getting paid like 30,000+ a year to play, which at that time was a lot of money
For sure.
to play Counter Strike. So yeah, that was like my claim to fame. Though, was like, I'm playing against these guys that are getting paid, and
It's funny.
yeah,
It's
it
funny.
was awesome.
It's funny that you brought up, certain internet cafes. I remember in Koreatown, there was like, it was always like whoever played, like that was your house, right? So they would have it like whichever one in Koreatown, like if this, I wish I knew the names of the internet cafes back then, but each one would be their own clan, and they would have tournaments, like you were talking about, tournaments against everyone else, and whoever's like the best internet cafe, they're like, oh yeah, this is the team that we need to beat. Yeah. Oh man.
I remember a lot of the ones that I knew. While I didn't participate in a lot, I had a lot of friends that would do this, and I would go over just to hang out with everybody, and it was half the fun was just watching, right? It wasn't that you had to necessarily play, but there was a whole culture involved. I mean, I saw a lot of highly caffeinated drinks spread all over the rooms. I would see a separate room for like sleeping, designated for sleeping. I would see people that would be like in and out, taking turns with the controller so they could use a restroom, and holding each other accountable if you screwed up.
top LAN drinks. One of it had to be balls. Do you remember the balls?
I remember those. Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
Mountain
was this
Dew,
during the
Code
time
Zero,
of Four Loco? We had Four Loco too.
Code Zero, or Code Red.
Code
I'm sorry,
Zero.
Code Red. Surge.
That's what I thought you meant. Yeah,
Yeah.
Code Red. Oh my God. Freaking Mountain Dew Code Red. Yeah, that was the stuff.
We
dude.
always just went to 7-Eleven, man, and just filled up a big gulp.
I mean,
What was it called when you would mix all the flavors together? What is it? Kamikaze?
Suicide.
Suicide. Thank you.
Yeah.
Suicide. Yeah. Oh, there's some fun times.
Those are-
And so, what kind of games did you guys both play? I know that we mentioned Counter Strike. You said Somebody, I think one of you guys said of one of the Blizzard games. What was it?
Age of I said Dota, like Diablo,
Quake.
StarCraft,
Diablo,
StarCraft,
Oh,
StarCraft.
StarCraft was
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Command and Conquer. Yeah.
I was there for a lot of StarCraft. I may have played just a bit of it, just to cover for somebody, but I'd never actually dove in. But the amount of people that would be there for this, this was just literally someone's house,
Yeah.
and it was like a legit, what would be a raving party, but everybody was quietly looking at the
Everyone was
screens,
watching. Yeah.
concentrating.
I think when we talk about StarCraft, right? So there was the Terran, the Protoss, and the Zerg, which is like the alien creatures. I think that one. I mean, and those you have like the humans. You're building this fort. I think that was like you get to a point, then you start to like attack your enemy. I think that one was more of like I could watch it, like my cousin would play it, and I'm just watching him build, and they're getting these silos built up, and they're building like these warriors or these cloak, you know, I was gonna say daggers or something like that. Whatever. They're building these characters, and they would attack the bases, and then you would think someone doesn't have, something crazy, and you would try to invade someone's base, and all of a sudden, like they're built crazy, and you're like, uh oh, like you're gonna, either get messed up or lose that game. But it's an interesting one because you don't see the rest of the map, right? So you send like your player to go kind of recon against the map or whatever, see where all these other folks are. But that was a fun, memorable game that I remember playing and watching, and I was Team Zerg all the way because to me they built the fastest.
These kind of games, these LAN parties, because while I didn't play them much, I went specifically for not only the camaraderie but like this socializing of everybody, right? So it was all about going to someone's house,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're young, you want to be a part of something, right? So for me, I felt that. Was it the same for you guys? Was this something that you reached out because a big part of this was just socializing in your own way with something that you loved?
Those.
Don't
Sorry,
speak
say
all
that-
at
yeah.
once, please.
Sorry, say that one more time. I was
Thank you,
just
bro.
texting right now with my wife. I was telling her stop using so much hot water. I'm like, this freaking water heater just keeps going off. I'm like, yeah.
I think going back
Real life problems.
going back to your question, Damien, I think it was more of the times, right? So this was, I want to say, I was pre-21, so I wasn't, going out like clubs or drinking or doing whatever, you want to say what was cool or whatever people do at, that age. I remember it was, right before that. So it's kind of like, you hang out late and you're hanging out with your buddies, and it was just, you're right. It's the sense of like, where do we go? Oh, let's go to John's house. Oh, sweet. He has this set up. Okay, cool. Bring your computer. It became this after, I want to say like the place to hang out instead of, and my parents were cool with it because they're like, cool. You're not going to be in the street. You're not going to be doing anything like that. I don't know. You're on the
Right.
computer, right? So they're like, okay, now there's this, feel about, okay, they're being productive. They're on the computer, even though it's video games or whatnot. You're doing something. Obviously there's a lot of things that were also said while playing a video game. That's probably not proper.
I'm sure they wouldn't approve.
Yeah, but I think it was that. Like, we were all kind of, I say we, when, as a group with friends, you're kind of like, sweet, like this is your group that you're hanging out with that was gamers. You have those that were like the jocks and they did whatever they do, So I think it also has a place where, like you can relate to the certain people that were doing the same thing, I think. So yeah, it was like you're not putting yourself in a situation that you kind of are familiar with, because if they're like, hey, what about this game? You could talk about it, you could jump on, you could play, as opposed to maybe something else that wasn't your interest. So I think a little bit has to do with it because it was like what we did or it was our interest, as opposed to then as we get older, then it's the whole like, oh, hey, let's ditch the computers and let's go to a club and hang out and do whatever. But I think it was just our pastime at that time period for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see there being a lot of there's a competitive edge to it too. You get
Yeah.
bragging rights, the classic bragging rights of I dominated this whole party, this whole thing, or I came so close to being the best, whoever that was. Michael, did you like thrive in that? I feel like you're maybe a little competitive there. Maybe you like that kind of thing. I don't know. Just saying, maybe.
Highly competitive, yeah. So I was definitely always playing to win, and yeah, you always wanted to have me on your team, that's for sure. But
There you go.
Yeah.
like when it came to Earl, though, like like I said, the strategy games, that was actually one of the ones where I actually had to watch because I am so competitive, and I wasn't very good at strategy games. Some guys just had the macros down, and they just knew, they just had all this, they just knew the strategy, what to do from the very beginning to end, in a certain order, and um, you just had to put in a lot of hours. And of course, my thing though is I was had the good hand-eye coordination though, so I was great at the shooting
Mhm.
games. So Quake, again,
So first
Counter-Strike.
person for you, but like total mouse keyboard,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
original way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, WASD and mouse, and but
I
we
don't
were
know how
using.
you guys do that.
Yep.
I don't know how you do that.
Oh.
I have tried so hard to do and be versatile. I
Mhm.
want it to be non-biased. I want it to just try it. Good God, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I tried so many
I
times.
so if you're shooting and then you're doing the WASD, it's so much easier for me to control my character and then to have the mouse, point to wherever I need to shoot at on the mouse with the click. But to a point where even when Call of Duty, and I'm going to go to console, right? So when Call of Duty was on PlayStation or Xbox, actually Xbox is one, where I converted my Xbox so that it can use the keyboard and mouse function and not use the standard controller. Because that for me was what I was used
That's
to
what you knew.
playing. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. You guys, I'm learning something new about you guys. And here I thought I knew you guys. I only know the controller. I came out of my mother's womb with an NES controller. That's all I know. So I tried the whole PC thing. While I wasn't good at it, I saw some dudes I admired that could, with precision, and I totally will say PC gamers have more precise shooting when they are doing first person snipers. You cannot tell me, as much as I am a fan of consoles, that is more accurate to do shooting like that. No, it's mouse and keyboard.
hmm
Don't get me wrong, like, of course, technology's come a long ways,
oh
but
yeah,
we still had pretty good technology then, and we weren't just using basic mouses then, though.
yeah,
Like, I remember I was using either like a good Razer was the brand or Steel
yeah.
Series, but you were using like high-end mouses that had extremely was a DPI
They were
resolution, and uh, with a really high-end mouse pads
yeah.
and everything, and
Optical before optical was a thing. People. This is again, mouses had a little trackball before. These were optical laser
right.
mouses that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
used, and you're like,
You
you
had
had
the
your
stupid
buddy,
little ball. Now it went optical.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
you're at your buddy's house, and you're like, oh, I forgot a mouse. He's like, oh, I got this mouse, and it's a ball, and you're like, oh no, like you're not.
You're like, why'd you have to do me dirty,
Yeah.
man?
I'm about to digress, but I was actually just thinking about this the other day. But when you think about it, PC gaming
hmm
in particular is really one of the biggest drivers when it comes to technology progress in general.
Yeah.
Like it's what pushes the boundaries when it comes to hardware, whether that be in the peripherals, keyboards, mice, monitors, but also the hardware itself, like CPUs and the RAM, the memory. If it wasn't for gaming, who knows? Like I think our computers that we use today wouldn't be as advanced as if it wasn't for these gamings having to push the limits and needing that next generation hardware to get to that next eye appealing game and stuff. So it's really amazing just to see how much PC games has really impacted even just our lives if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the legacy of LAN. Um, let's just be real and deep. I mean, this was the start of. I'm going to go very deep on this. This is the start of the disconnect of the issue I have with the fact that when we do online gaming, that we had our LAN parties with our bros, and now it goes behind the internet, and now we don't see them anymore. So it went,
Yes.
and you heard me say this, and I said
Yeah.
it on the our panels before at Comic Con. I have an issue with the fact that we lost that co-op couch co-op thing,
Yeah.
right? A lot of this stuff is online. Okay, I got that. They need to make money. Okay, I've come to terms with it. This was the start of it where it went astray. You had still the golden days when you got together. It was remote in the sense that you were in the next room
Mm-hmm.
or at a different level of the house. But I mean, it's a God. I feel like this was the start of it, where now it's convenient, where you don't have to do the parties, and you can just have your own quote unquote party from your home.
Yeah.
Damien, I'm
I
just
hate
gonna
it.
say this, Damien. I like when you go deep. Like I like when you go really deep.
Fine.
And with that being said, yes,
Maybe don't say it in
I'm
public
so
as much, but I know.
I'm so glad you said that though, because honestly, yeah, society, it's changed so much, and we're in a completely different time. And I think we would all agree that if we could go back in a time capsule and
Yeah.
have that type of LAN party, and it's really not for the LAN party, right? It's probably for the just having your buddies together,
Yeah.
not being distracted by phones. And,
Yeah.
We're in a day and age, honestly, and I can say this right now with our audience, whether they're listening or watching, I'm not there with you guys. This is remote. This is what it's come to. We're in a day and age where I can't be with you guys. I'm tired. I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I have other work I do. You guys have full-time jobs. Some of you are parents. Both of you guys are parents. I'm not. It's like, life gets in the way, and now technology has made it easier to where it's a plus and a minus. We're able to do this. It enables us to be able to have this happen. A minus that I miss being with my guys,
Yeah.
but it's like a weird, like, kind of like online gaming. Like, I'm happy I can connect with guys, don't get me wrong, from, Australia or New Zealand, or there's a guy from Korea on. Like, great,
Yeah.
awesome, this is cool, but I don't know you.
But
It's like there's a disconnect.
I want to say that there are starting, the whole let's play together in a room or in a place, as like the LAN parties. And, with the LAN parties back then, it definitely catapulted where we see online gaming now, because they knew it was a product to bring people together. But now that you can do it in the function of your own home, but you're right, you miss that physical, like, hey, I can see my buddy there, or we can chat. Now you have to be on your headset like we're doing now, on a computer,
Right.
on something, to communicate to each other, instead of like, hey, what's up? And here, have a slice of pizza, right? Because
Yeah.
there's pizza, there's Mountain Dew, there's all this stuff that you're prepared for with your buddies. You're like, sweet, we're going to go hours, we're going to go rage, it's going to be fun. Like you set your weekends up around, what you're going to do. Now it's like, oh, cool, I'll be on, like it's lost its lack.
we don't really we just don't really have any games. I was just thinking about that while you're saying all that, and the thing that I can maybe think of is Pokemon Go.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe
It's
that one.
maybe the only thing that comes remotely close where people kind of had to interact with one another. But
Yeah.
man, yeah, I hope someone comes up and something else.
Pokemon Go was like one of those things that sort of brought back some sort of people together, kind of thing. It was one of those that, oh, you're on Pokemon Go? Oh, sweet,
Yeah.
dude! It's really good to meet you. Fist bump,
Yeah.
and then that was like a nod to the old days when it was like, oh, you're a gamer. Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, you go online? Yeah, I play online. Cool. I don't have your username, your gamer tag. Oh, I don't have yours either. Okay, well,
Yeah.
bye. It's that disconnect again. It bugs me. And going back to the LAN, you had Losi. You brought up like there was the one of those. I'm sure there was 40, 50 plug and play Ethernet switches that you would go to connect, to go out of your way to do this. All the while you're together and you're still enjoying your moments together within the same vicinity. Like you're there. I miss those days. I miss that, and I love that we have this podcast where we can go into the nostalgic, roots about what we felt, and that's something this subject matter. I know a lot of people will feel very strongly about, and I'm just happy we talked
And I
about it.
think that was the next progression, was the computers or your online, because before it'd be like, oh, let's go to John's house. Or Jimmy's house. He has a Nintendo, right? So you're playing on a controller. You're there physically. And then it became this bigger, broader game where now your buddies are like, obviously in a situation where they could drive, and they're like, I have a monitor in my car, I have a desktop tower, the things that they actually need that you can't bring over on a bike, right? Because I remember we talked about this too. You knew where all the kids were having fun because you saw 10 bikes in front of the house, and you knew one of those, that everyone's playing whatever. Now it's like cool, like you see everyone with the car. You have to carry all this equipment if you're doing that, or if maybe your buddy had a really cool house where he could house 2 or 3 systems where you go all LAN partied up whenever you felt like it. But I think that that was a different phase, going from console to LAN party, whether it's console or computer, a CPU processor, and then it goes back to now, which is now console but online gaming, right? So maybe it might come back where people will do more of a in-person LAN parties. I could still see that happening, and I know, and I've seen it on social media where people have done it. I'm like, that is so cool. Like I want to join and play whatever they're doing, even if it's a retro game altogether. And
You know what I don't like about what you said?
what?
I didn't like that you said maybe. I don't like that you said maybe we can find something like that or it'll happen again. Because, I mean, we've had a lot of people come up to us when we've gone to the cons. I know that I've got a lot of great emails from people that listen to the show. There's a sense of responsibility that we have. And I'm saying that if we are saying we want that, we should start instituting that kind of thing.
I agree.
If you want a LAN party, we got to host it.
Call it out.
We got to keep it alive. So this kind of thing is a big deal.
Yeah.
You don't just say, I hope it happens one day. I think it falls on people like us. We are doing this. We have a passion for what we talk about here. We got to do it. Yeah. And we're more or less doing it with this podcast, but we also do get together, and listeners and viewers, we're not just remote. We do get together as guys. We do play. We have fun. We order pizza. We have a good time. It's just far and few in between where we would like to do it more.
Yeah.
But
I want to see you on. I do want to see you on a keyboard mouse. Try to play Counter Strike.
Yeah, I want to myself.
I think Losi will probably.
I'm gonna suck, but I'll be there.
We know he's probably the best one at a first-person shooter. I'll probably come in a close second, and we'll see what Damien does. He probably wants to connect
I'll be a close fifth, guys.
Who's going to host this thing, or we have to rent out a big hall or something? Huh?
Yeah, I know. But it starts with us, so we will definitely do that. I'm really happy we talked about this. I feel that if we can start a trend, I'm down. And I know everyone says stuff like that.
Retro Game Night LAN Party? Yeah.
Retro Game Night LAN Party.
No.
If this podcast starts a little something, hey, I will be there for that. 100% I'm there. Till then, I definitely want our audience to give us their input. This is the time where you guys, as you have before, send us messages, talk to us, give us ideas for our episodes. Had a submission recently for an awesome photo on our Instagram for retro gaming. It was the Metal Gear Solid photo. This is the stuff we love.
How about next episode we read user questions at the end?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are a little older, but I got plenty.
You got some, yeah.
So if we read some, this will be your moment. I won't reveal too much information like your email or anything, but I will reveal a first name. I mean, this is your time to tell me no. If you hear this podcast, there will be a nice little space where you can say, please don't mention my name.
Yeah.
Otherwise, hell yeah. We will definitely talk about you guys, and that's something I'm so bad about this. I neglect that. I will definitely give some shout outs to some of you that have talked to us, even if it's been a while and you still follow us. I know that you do. You message us, you follow you like us on our posts, so I really appreciate that. Before we go, Earl Lawrence, we'd like to hear from you, and what I'd like to hear from you is a very important thing. It is that we find out where we can find you on social media. That way we can stalk you. We can see what you're up to and which boat you're sailing that week. Because that's what you do. You just sail and play video games on the boat.
You could find me on Instagram, Hey Earl Lawrence. just as you say it. Hey, Earl Lawrence. My name's down at the bottom.
Hey,
Hey,
yeah, it never gets old.
hey, hey.
Hay, like
I hate you.
Like, hey.
Michael Losi, where can we find you on social media?
so right there, Michael underscore Losi. There you go.
There you go.
I try to keep
That's so exciting.
animal products out of my username.
All right. Well, you can find me at Damien underscore DeCarlo and Retro underscore Game Night on Instagram.
Yeah.
And our shenanigans are there and all our cool posts. Until next time, everybody, make sure you write us. And also, it's very important that you stay calm and game on.